Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 One Club story from Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. It's part 90 of the Tudor Times and we have got a big transfer deadline day to get through. We've had a couple of big signings since the last episode and there could be some absolute gems today. I hope you're looking forward to it as we also come back to face Tottenham in the Premier League, who have had a poor start to the season. And I told you last episode, didn't I, in the summer transfer special, that point against Norwich was going to be crucial, and at the moment, just behind my head, it is the only thing keeping us out of the relegation zone from Norwich, just on goals scored. So that's how important hanging on for the point was. So if you're looking forward to seeing some of the gems coming in today, hopefully will have the same impact as the January signings, then please do put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from two long-term stories. We had a big cup final in the head coach yesterday, you can find that up in the eye above. And there's links up there to the Twitch channel and the football podcast too. You can support the show down below as a channel member as you wish to. Thank you as always for your incredible support. But let's go and look at a couple of results off camera and then get ourselves into transfers galore. So you will see some of the new names when we're looking through the couple of results, but we'll go and meet them all in a moment. And it has been a pretty horrible start to the season in truth. We obviously drew at Norwich. We had then two of the best four clubs in the Premier League and Brighton in the Carabao Cup, who we beat comfortably. Now we've got Tottenham coming up, but then after that, Leicester in the Cup, Leeds and Sheffield United, slightly more winnable games. We've got to try and find some form. So after you were with me for the opening day, we lost 1-0 at home to Liverpool. We almost held on. We were so solid defensively, but just couldn't get over the line. We beat Brighton 4-0 with a backup team. Will Lancashire might well defy a star rating as he came in and got a hat-trick. Josh O'Connor scored the other. Neskovic as well, brilliant in goal because we were by no means dominant in that game. And in a 3-1 defeat away to City, Cordes scored another screamer as he did against Norwich. But then he got injured and he's out for at least a month, which is not going to help our survival chance. Probably the only position we haven't got a great backup now due to one of our recent sales. But a Ferran Torres brace and Ben Chilwell's goal wrapped up that victory for City. And Jack Hanifan had an absolute shocker alongside his new centre-half partner. So let's go and have a look at the transfers since you were last with me. There's some potential big ones today. We have got a deal going in for £17 million for someone to become a highest paid player. We're waiting to see if it gets accepted or not. And we've also offered a contract to a striker because a few of you down in the comments in recent episodes have talked about replacing Ricky J. Jones. And while I'm not up for that just yet, we could really do with someone to play alongside him that's consistent and scores goals. And more importantly, we need to have future planning. So a 22-year-old could be a solution. We'll look at those later on though if the deals come through, because there's been plenty of big stuff happening already. 2 paid signings since the last episode and 3 players leaving the club, 1 permanently and 2 on loan. So first things first, let's deal with the few outs. Kamari Doyle left the club for Charlton. He wanted to force his way out in the summer, struggled towards the end of last season. And in League One, he's going to be an absolute superstar, as he was for us when he joined the club. But it was decent money for a player who wouldn't sign a new contract and only had 1 year left on his deal. So 3.7 million for him, which funded the 2 signings we've made. Then Josh Berry has gone out on loan to Swansea. Another season of Championship football for him, as we have strengthened really big at centre-half. And in the other one, Harry Thornley leaves the club for Charlton on loan. He just needs to get football. He's had injury troubles. He's not played a lot since going to Norwich, and it sort of curtailed his development. So hopefully he can go back and basically pick up from where he left us. That's what we need for him because he's got a great personality and we want him to reach the level he can. And Josh Berry's proof that loans can do that. So Harry Thornley gets some experience there. We've then taken Max Taylor off the transfer list to stay as our 4th centre-half. And we've got 2 more players coming in, including another central defender. That man was being negotiated in the last episode as Jose Luis Meyer. He comes in from 1.9 million from O'Higgins, as South America seems to be our favourite scouting spot now. He's a 19-year-old Chilean centre-half, 4-star ability, 5-star potential. We've got to be careful with him though, because he's worth 25 million already having joined, and we had to offer him a release clause of 27 million. So yes, it would be an exceptional profit for the club, but I genuinely believe, looking at him, with his personality, with his attributes already, I think he can become one of the world's best centre-halves. And that's what we're looking to build towards in the future. The other one to come in was an interesting one from our scout reports. Again, bolsters that squad as we look to move forward. Danilo Jose comes from Brazil, 1.6 million. We We'd actually agreed a pre-contract with him, like we did with Mateus a couple of years ago, because he was going to be out of contract at the end of the calendar year. But then we just bought him now because it was 1.6 million. We're going to try and shift Bennett Sharif, who's on a bigger wage anyway. And Danilo Jose, 18-year-old Brazilian, will become homegrown at the club, already 3-star ability and has 5-star potential. So in those games where we're 2 or 3 down and we're already out of the game, I'm going to make sure he gets as many appearances as possible. I've got him in a mentoring group with resolute personalities, and I think he's going to be a gem. So 2 young signings that are going to massively improve us in the future. And that's largely what we're looking at, to be honest. We can't sign lots of players at the moment that are going to be ready-made Premier League players. But with those 2, with the likes of Hanifan, who we bought in last year, Bernal as well, we're looking to build for 2 or 3 years down the line and dot that around with a bit of experience. And Cordes has been another one of those, although injury is probably going to curtail him now. So let's go and get into transfer deadline day. There will be some deals getting done, I'm sure. We're rich, we've got money to spend, we're keeping the wages under control. And all those new boys on decent money, they've got a big relegation wage drop percentage. Preston links with Max Taylor. I don't really want to let him go. I'd rather get rid of Bennett Sharif. I've been looking at this guy from Schalke for ages, but the wages just too great. It's a wonder-kid centre midfielder. He's absolutely class, but I don't see how it gets done. We're going to make one more approach to get him, and we'll see what inquiry comes off. But let's go and take part in deadline day. You've seen the 3 that might be coming in. We'll go and meet them in greater detail. If the deal gets done, and maybe let a few out of the club too. Well, back we come with 14 hours to go. We've got an offer for Hubert. We've got an offer made by a director of football for someone. And we've had our rejected inquiry for the star from Schalke. So the offer for Williams is Jordan Williams at 31. Absolutely no chance he gets signed. The wonder kid from Schalke, I might just make an offer. See if we can get him in. I wonder what his wage demands will be. But we'll try that in a moment. The offer for Hubert, quite good. 5.5 million up front. So the fee we agreed was 9.75, as you can see with Hubert. I'm going to go up to a 30% next sale clause. I'm going to try and work that up to 5 million and that up to 4.5. And it might well price us out of the deal, but it doesn't really matter. We've got to take our chance to try and bring money in. Suggest them, withdrawn. We'll see if they come back later in the day. Hubert's not happy with that, but we've made an agreement with him. We said the finances weren't right last time, and he's being a bit grumpy, to be honest, so I'll say I'll consider it next time, but I still want a bigger offer than that. He's handed in a transfer request. We'll see if that makes a difference. We'll skip through this time. It's the only day we don't do the staff meeting. We'll be back in a minute to see if we get an offer for the Schalke player and whether anyone else is leaving the club. We're looking at the wage demands. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to come off, but we have had an offer of 22.5 million accepted for the Schalke midfielder. I don't think it's going to happen though, so don't get too excited. We'll see what the demands are. Important player he wants to be, 66 grand a week. Look, for us, it's too much. It's just too much at this stage. We're a year or 2 away from making those signings. We're not selling Hubert for half the price Bournemouth offered. That's ridiculous. Well, we're trying to get Bennett Sharif out of the club. Nobody else willing to come in at the moment. And considering he'd want to force his way out, it's just not happening. So Bennett Sharif will persuade him to find a new club, see if someone can make an offer. He thinks he's happy here. But this is where we regret giving some average players the bigger deals. Marcus Morris has made an offer for Josh Hooper, a 25-year-old striker. Not good enough or quick enough for the way we play. We've just had a player pop up on a loan report, and it seems like a good backup in case we don't get in the original man we're targeting from South America. Oder Fajani from Arsenal is a great finisher. He's not got that burning pace, but as a poacher I feel he could work. They've got an optional future fee of 12 million, 20% wage coverage. I think that's a good backup option to have. They want him to be recallable, which is fine. We have also got loads of scout options going for players that are young or from South America or have got the ability to become stars for us. But at the moment, there's no one else really sticking out other than this striker who I'm trying to get my hands on. Well, the Fiani offer has been accepted. We've got a new member of staff coming in as well. And I'm going to start ignoring the director of football offers unless they're good, because otherwise they're going to bore you to death. They've all been rubbish so far. Now we are talking. Forget the offer for Javon McQueen, which is actually a better one than some of the others this day. We have got a player who's agreed to join the club, and that player is Arthur Ndu. It would be a record transfer at 17 million. He'd be by far the highest paid player of 44 grand a week. but I want to show you him because I always said, and you guys criticise me occasionally, some of you, but I always said if the right player's available, we will offer big. And he looks like a massive upgrade. 4-star ability centre midfielder, can play out wide as well. He's got the ability as a centre mid, he's got the ability as a box-to-box. He plays both of the roles naturally, he's physically fit. And if we look at the reports, he's very consistent, doesn't get injured a lot. I think he's the sort of player we need in our club. So, against all the odds, I'm going to break the transfer record. You've seen it live. You can't say I don't spend money. Arthur and Do will join Hemel Hempstead Town. There's a loan approach for Max Taylor, which we'll look at as well. It's not worth it. Getting £3,000 off the wage bill. With our priorities today, a fourth choice centre-half to replace on that budget. Not going to be possible. And here he is. What a player. If we get relegated, we might be in trouble. But he has still got the 50% wage drop. So he'd be on £22,000 a week. And I'm sure attract interest from other clubs. We're going to ask more to welcome him. We're of course going to register him for the squad because he's an absolute superstar. And he's homegrown in the nation. He's a top class player. I really want to see him play for this football club. And I hope that he can be that upgrade we need in one of those midfield positions. Camoy Richardson is a little bit concerned, and I don't blame him, to be brutally honest. So shall we offer him out as well? We've rejected offers for him before, and he is without doubt the weakest of our midfielders. The other alternative is that we loan out Terry Clark, the number 10. So one of those things will happen. I'll choose which in a moment. Well, I've opted for the Terry Clark decision instead, and ironically, one of the clubs that have come in for him is Blackburn to replace Undo. So that would actually be perfect for both clubs. Nobody else is offering him a first team role, and that's what I want. A season of championship football will really help him. So we're going to offer him out on loan. We're going to reject all the other ones, but Blackburn is the club he could join. Fiani has agreed to join us, which sounds great on paper, and I might still gamble it because he's not on a huge amount of money. Josh O'Connor wants to go on a free at the end of the year. We could just sell him. But Fiani is a rock solid player. We'll completely ignore the director of football one again, which isn't very good. But this is the guy I'm most excited about. We've not got a full scout report, but it looks great. He's another Uruguayan, 2.6 million, 25 grand a week. It seems too good to be true. We're about to find out if it is by accepting the offer. Well, this is a pretty good sign. He's played for Liverpool before, apparently, so he has been in English football. We're going to get him to learn the language, which he hasn't done previously. But he has joined the club as is Fiani, and I can see already he's 3-star ability. We need firepower, because we had big goal droughts for all of our strikers last year. Oh yes, physically he's got those Ricky attributes. Professional personality again. Off the ball movements exceptional. We've got a replacement long term, and that as a deal for us, we're going to make one hell of a profit on. It's a different Liverpool FC, which will explain why he wasn't learning English previously. Fiani also joins 3-star ability, 4-star potential. Not great physically at all, but a really good poacher. He's played for Blackburn, scored goals, played for Bristol City, scored goals. They're not signings I was expecting to make at the start of the date, but I'm pleased with them. Ricky has got nothing to worry about. He is not going to be out of the team anytime soon, because he's the only one scoring for us. And we'll reject that win deal. I think we're done now. I think we've signed all the players we're hoping to today. Joel Bagan, I'm tempted by, but I don't think he's a big step up. And we'll keep trying to get Bennett Sharif out the door. If we can't, I might try and sell Taylor, just so we've only got 4 centre-halves. 7 hours left. Terry Clark will join Blackburn, so it's a very expensive swap deal for us. But if Clark comes back a star next year, it will all be worth it. Dennis Sirkin is a player we've been linked with. I'm not going to worry about that for now. What I am going to do is look at maybe getting a midfielder out, perhaps Camoy Richardson, perhaps Callon Hazeman. But we'll be back at the end of the day, unless there's any big news going out the club. Offers in for Camoy Richardson. 3.8 million from PSV, but they want us to pay 12.5 grand a week of wages, which will not happen. There's also an offer from Gyeongbuk, and that one looks a little bit better. It's got a sell-on clause, it's worth an extra 2 million, and 10 grand less a week to be contributed for the South Korean side. So I'm going to take that one. It's a good deal for the player. Let's see whether it goes through. Well, it always hots up with 5 hours to go, doesn't it? Camoy Richardson has agreed a move to South Korea for 5.75 million plus a sell-on. We've made an offer for another centre-half, which doesn't quite seem right, and he won't be coming in. Though he does look pretty good, to be honest. We've got an offer from Bournemouth for Hubert, which I think is less than the last one. So I'm going to ask for 30% of a sell-on clause. We're going to try and edge it up a little bit more. I'm going to go for 3.5 plus 3 million. 6.5 I think is fair. They've withdrawn it. That's up to them. Josh O'Connor linked with Huddersfield. We've got loads of strikers now, so we might as well do it. He's leaving for free anyway. Hull come in for Max Taylor. We can't get rid of Bennett Sharif, so we might as well do that. Claire is linked with us, but I don't think we're going to buy him. He's not as good as the centre-halves we've got, and he's not as young, so there's no point. And Richardson will join Jeonbuk. We say goodbye to him. Lots of appearances for the club, 114. He's never scored a league goal. I never noticed that. He came in as a striker. We played him in midfield, but he's never scored a league goal or a cup goal. That is astonishing. And the other two have agreed moves out. Josh O'Connor and Max Taylor on loan. These are championship standard players that have been replaced with Premier League ones. And you can already see Mayer's the best defender at the club, Ricker's the best striker, and Du's the best midfielder. There's a lot of improvements. I'm really pleased with how we're shaping up. It's just now whether Hubert or Bennett Sharif leave. Offer made by Marcus Morris for Matthew Colwill, who looks a very good defender. What's his wage demand? An awful lot. And it's £27 million. He's not that good. Bye-bye, Colwill. Bournemouth offer for Hubert again. It's exactly the same offer. It is exactly the same offer as before. Right. I'm going to be as reasonable as I can here. The transfer value says 5.5. So let's make it that. 3 million up front, 2.5 in instalments, and a little bit of a sell-on clause. Your decision. They've offered less than the original offer. That's £4.4 million. Hubert he's only got 1 year on his contract, but he is quite an important player in the squad. And I didn't realise Camoy Richardson's here till January, actually. So that gives us an extra one we didn't think we'd have. I'd like to keep Hubert ideally, and it's not the offer we asked for. 4.5 million's not enough, and if they want to pay 5.5, we'll take it. Offer from Marcus Morris for Lewis Ripley, which is not going to be done again. Not a good enough player to upgrade us. And another Bournemouth offer for Hubert. Oh, it's the same bloody one. Please give me strength. 5.5 million. Do it. Hooray! £5.5 million. And that means we've got 4 months to find a centre midfielder because Richardson will be leaving in January. We've still got enough cover for now though. 1 hour to go. There could be one more out. And with 45 minutes left, there is one more out. There's an offer for Gerardo again. Why is he trying to sign right backs when we've got absolutely tons of them? It's our best cover position in the squad. But the offer has been accepted for Leo Hubert, who will join Bournemouth for 5.5 million. Been a good servant for us. Middlesbrough are in for Grashik, our third choice keeper. Not now. You've left it too late for a replacement. And then left back, how much of an upgrade on Thornhill is Joel Bagan? I'm not sure he's a big enough one, to be honest. Let's go and pick him up. So Bagan, it's only £250,000. Again, it's not a big one, but it's someone we'd then have to replace a year down the line. And Thornhill, there's not much in it, is there? I don't think that's worth it defensively. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to cancel that deal. It doesn't fit our usual criteria, and we're not desperate enough to do it. So 45 minutes left. Hubert's off. That should be the end of deadline day. And breathe at the end of a ridiculous day. Big deals coming in. Fiani on loan. And Do for 17 million. Ricker for 2.6. A steal up front, in my opinion. And lots of players leaving the club too. There's now a loan approach for Bennett Sharif, which, Lord knows, they've got 45 minutes left in their window. And we're not getting enough of a wage benefit from it. So Bennett Sharif will stay. The wage expenditure, we're still bottom. We've still got less than half the budget spent of the next club up in Bournemouth. And in terms of the transfer window, most players out, 21. It's going to be a long episode, isn't it? Because that was a hectic day. Fiani, Ricker and Ndu came in. Jose and Mayer the week before. And on deadline day, out go Terry Clark on loan, Max Taylor and Josh O'Connor on loan, and Leo Hubert for 5.5 million. And now we look forward to the rest of the season. But have we done enough to stay up? Let me know your opinion, and we'll be back in a minute after the international break to face Tottenham Hotspur at Kenilworth Road. After a long international break, we are back for Super Sunday. It is Hemel Hempstead v Spurs. We'll make it quick because we know we've spent ages on transfer deadline day, but Norwich have picked up another point and have displaced us in 17th. We have to get a result here. We had a morale boosting friendly in the break, which we only won 3-1 against a very local side. But let's put our 11 together. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, here we go for today. A few changes tactically due to the Cordes injury. I've dropped German Moreira to a deep line playmaker role in centre midfield too, just as a quick update there. But the rest of the team picks itself. It's John Moore in goal, Ryan Young and Albi Arm in the fullbacks with Mayer and Hanifan as centre half. Burnout and Du, who's making his debut, Moreira and McNeil are the midfield diamond. McNeil, the next best number 10 at the club, so that's where he's going to play. And then up front, Mario Ricker makes his debut, and he's so good as an advance forward that Ricky J. Jones will have to step aside. He's the poacher for this one. We'll juggle it around as we need to. But into the game we go. Not one we'd be expecting to win, but it's becoming more and more important given our start to the season. Well, it's a good Spurs side. We're going to ask the lads to pick up where they left off and get into the first half. They've got the likes of Alexis Sailmakers, a very good young player in real life, and lots of quality regens at Spurs who have generally got a bit of a younger squad than some of the other clubs we've seen. So let's see how the first half works out. We've just got to keep it tight and for the whole 90 minutes. Well, a very quiet start. Over half an hour gone and not much happening as Dani Olmo and Theo Hernandez combine on the wing. So again, a bit more of an ageing squad in defensive areas. Satriano is a quality striker, has scored goals against us before, but John Moore claims that cross really well. We have also, like we did in the first game of the season at Norwich, oh, you idiots! You absolute idiots! What are you doing there? Oh, Hanifan. I know he's a great young player, and with a season of Premier League football, he'll improve massively. But I've got to take him out for O'Brien when we play the sides at the bottom. We've got to have solid defenders in there, and not idiots who lose their concentration. Oh, I completely forgot or lost track of what I was saying before, but what are you doing? Composure not there. He's supposed to have good concentration. He's supposed to be decent on the ball. Josh O'Brien will play the next game because I can't keep dealing with these mistakes. Half time, it's been a nothing game and we find ourselves 1-0 down. Well, 25 minutes remaining. We've not actually seen an attacking highlight yet. It's been a pretty poor game. I'm going to switch Ricky J. Jones over. Ricker's not had the best debut. I'm going to replace him with Foyani. I'm going to bring Flores on for Ndu, who again has made his debut but looking a bit anxious now. And Hanifan will be replaced by O'Brien. So hopefully, if we do get an equaliser, we won't then be pegged back for another error. I'm going to encourage the lads, because we've not played that badly, but we don't look like winning the game. It's a containing job. And it's a free kick for the left-hand side for Spurs. It's got its way into the box. It's that Bruno Fernandes who's come on for them. I mean, we know he's going well in the head coach at an old age, but he's still going here too. With 10 left, I'm going to go a bit more positive, but I don't see where the goal comes at the minute. 4 minutes of stoppage time. Spurs' expected goals is over 2. Ours is under 1. But at the end of the day, if Hanifan had not gifted them an open goal, we would have drawn 0-0. The positive, we've played 3 of the traditional top 7. We've not lost by many. We've kept the goal difference good. We've got that negativity of being in the relegation zone, of not winning a Premier League game in 12 now because of the 8 at the end of last season. We need to bounce back. Well, the fans are criticising our tactics again. No shock there. I know a lot of you like to see the games against the top teams, but I don't know how we're going to do this at the moment. I'm either going to come back for United and Arsenal at the start of November, which are big games, but I'm more inclined to show 2 of the 3 after, because Bournemouth are one of those sides right at the bottom. Palace and Wolves are that mid-table bunch where we've got to try and pick up results. It'll probably depend on the next month and a half. So if you did enjoy this episode, a chaotic deadline day, overall some really big improvements to the squad, and a solid defensive performance against Spurs, apart from one idiotic error, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. Let me know in the comments, second season syndrome, or have we got a chance now of staying up? We'll be back tomorrow with the head coach before another big one here in 2 days' time. There's links in the eye above to the Twitch channel and the football podcast too. Plenty of content to come from both of those over the next month. And of course, just above my head now, I'll put a link to yesterday's cup final in the head coach. So do go and check that one out. I'll see you again here next time.